Hello and welcome to our third episode of the Sligo Show with myself, Brendan Tierney. And coming up this week we have our special guest, Dorothy Crean, who is the owner of the Sligo Weekender, who has a fabulous story of working her way from the bottom right up to the top. We'll also have your news, your sport, our entertainment slot. This week's local business feature is with Fergal Nealon, who has a brilliant app called Story Tracks. So we'll hear a little bit more about that. As always, each week we have our topic of the week, and this week is no different. And there's a prize as well for anyone that comments in. Okay, so make sure you get your comments in during the show. Our prize this week is from Gillespie's in Tubbercurry. It's a lovely solar light garden gnome, lovely piece there. So one lucky winner, and all you have to do is comment in during the show. And our topic of the week is: what is your favourite Sligo beauty spot? So it could be your favourite beach. It could be that you like kayaking down in Lochgill. It could be a bench in a park. Wherever it is, let us know what your favourite beauty spot is. And we'll try and get them mentioned. There could be a few there that the viewers aren't aware of. So later on as well, we have a fabulous music piece from Staring Down Comets, my apologies, was recorded during the week in Lilies. So stick around for that at the end of the show. It's absolutely fabulous. So without further ado, we're going to get to our first special guest of the night. Dorothy Crean, you're very welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Brendan.
Thank you very much for coming all the way in from West Sligo.
No problem.
Oh, good. Everyone's keeping well out there?
Yeah, they sure are.
And Thursday is the day the Sligo Weekender comes out. So you're the owner of that. So is Thursday kind of like gets a little bit calmer then during the week? Is that
definitely a lot calmer than a Wednesdays for us. Yeah, it is.
It gets a bit easier. And you can take the weekend off then, is it?
It gets easier until a Saturday.
Yes, okay. So say with a wry smile.
Yeah.
So I suppose for anyone that doesn't know you, and I suppose I don't even know all of your background either, tell us a little bit about, where you grew up and what was it like, family life?
Well, I'm Sligo through and through, Brendan. Okay. Born in Collins in West Sligo. I now live in Dromore West with my son, Dylan. Came from a farming background. Okay. There was 9 of us in family. I'm the middle child, the forgotten one.
As always.
So I had to fight for myself a lot of the time. Went to school in Collins. And
were you on the farm now? Were you a farmer?
Well, not by choice.
Okay, I think that's a lot of farming families. I always say didn't grow up on a farm, but we were surrounded. I love going farming, but then I'd say it's different if you're living on one.
Yeah, very
So you
different.
weren't first out in the morning?
I was, because I was told to be first out.
You no choice.
We all would have input now, in fairness, and I'll always say it did stand to us because all of us are hard workers.
Yes.
But definitely not there by choice. Definitely not, Brendan.
So then after school, you off to college. So was this to go, right, I have a business interest, or was it like, I just need to get away from the farm for a while?
It was, my mother and father would always have pushed education on us, to be fair. And it was them that persuaded me to go to Sligo IT. I had no interest in going to college at all. I had no interest in being in school, only for the crack.
Yeah,
so I went off to Sligo IT and studied construction studies.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to how this links into owning a paper.
It didn't really link, to be fair. I finished up after a year, didn't go so well. So they persuaded me again to go back to college. So I went back to do marketing. Done 4 years there, and I actually really, really liked it.
And this was in the IT as well?
Yeah, this was in the IT.
It shows the variety in the IT.
Yeah,
isn't it? It's
really
amazing
does,
to have on our doorstep, like to have that access to all these different courses. So you've done the 2 courses. And what made you go into construction studies?
I just randomly picked it, to be honest.
Just randomly picked it?
Yeah, I'd love to tell you there's a story, but there wasn't. I randomly picked it, and it wasn't for me. And the only thing I passed in that course was communications. And I remember a lecturer trying to persuade me to do the repeats, to go back and do second year. And I was like, there's not a point, because... But communications did stand to me, to be fair.
I can see why, that's gone through.
Yeah.
And so after you finished marketing, did you go straight into the Sligo Weekender back then, or what was the
No, I applied for a job in Norwest Express. It was Norwest Extra then. And I got it, and I went in to do sales, and I was so nervous even picking up the phone because I wasn't used to being on the phone. Yeah. But I was a bit dodgy in the beginning, but once I sold my first ad, it grew on me after a while.
Okay.
And I stayed with them for 4 years. 2011, I applied for a job in the Weekender, and then the rest is history, as they say.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
And so, like, you've worked your way right through. What was kind of your favourite job in there? Obviously, before you were the boss, like, what was your favourite kind of department?
My favourite job then is my favourite job now. I love selling advertising.
Right.
I love selling advertising. And when Kevin made me general manager, actually, Brendan, he took me off advertising. And that killed me to hand over my customers and not to be able to sell ads. So once I bought the paper, I was like, I'm back on advertising again.
Well, no one can tell you otherwise, so you can decide what you're doing.
Yeah, that's true,
And like, it's funny because a lot of people, I mean, I did work in sales myself, and I it can be hard doing cold calls. What is it you love? You love the hustle of it and meeting people and chatting people, or just bargaining around and seeing how things work?
Yeah, I love all of it, to be honest, and I love when you sell the ad.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. There's days when you go in and I mightn't be sitting there going, I love this, because everyone's saying no to you for their different reasons. But when you get the sale, then it's all worth it.
Yes,
do you know?
They kind of said that one no is the thing you focus on rather than the 9, or the one yes, I should say, rather than 9
Yeah,
no's.
exactly. And even other advertising people coming in and them starting at the bottom and seeing how they progress. I even love that
You
part.
enjoy.
Yeah.
You help out with them and give them advice.
Yeah, I think so. And
Yeah.
it works both ways. They sometimes might give me advice as well, do you know?
Yeah.
Because they're coming in from outside and they can see it from a different perspective, do you know?
No, it's very true, and I think a lot of bosses and places don't see that. Or maybe a younger person has some brilliant ideas. I see that a lot of places where maybe just sit back and listen to them. So, as you said, you're learning from them as well.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But no, that's interesting with the ads, and I've dealt with you for years in different businesses with ads, and you were good. Like you could
Thank you, Bridget.
twist a deal brilliantly, and you just felt, she's looking after me. So it's definitely ringing true. And what job did you maybe not like so much over the years? Because you've done pretty much everything at this stage.
I definitely have done everything at the Weekender. Probably dealing with memoriam cards. I don't like that end where they're so sad, and I'd nearly end up crying because of their sadness, even though I'm only going by a story. Do you know, I don't have any connection to it.
Yes.
So definitely dealing with memoriam cards I find really hard.
Okay, and so they have to tell you the whole story, and they don't just send it
No,
in
I
anymore.
don't.
They ring and tell you some of the details.
And some of them they just come in and they do them, and other of them really wants to talk because it's a really hard thing for them to do. Now, I don't deal with them normally. That's another girl that deals with them.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be the one person who's able for that, do you know?
Yeah, I know. It's something you don't think of with a paper.
That's definitely my weakness, is dealing with memoriam cards.
You'd forget that's someone's job.
Yeah.
And as you said, people coming in who maybe haven't talked so much about this, especially to strangers. So that's something we probably wouldn't all think of.
No.
With the paper. So your progression, tell us, is it 2011 to now? 10 years. That's some skyrocket.
I started off with selling ads.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I didn't actually like the Weekender because everything had rules.
We are live, you know that now.
Everything had rules, and I wasn't used to rules, really. So I just
Okay.
did what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So for me to sell you an ad, Brendan, I just had to fill out this form, and then I'd get someone to sign the form. I was like, what is this about? I just want to sell the ads. But through time, anyways, I'd say after 2 or 3 months, I settled in. And I was there probably 5 or 6 years, and I queued for Gareth Brooks tickets on O'Connell Street.
Okay.
I got my tickets.
This story is taking a weird turn.
Was delighted with life. I'd come back to the Weekender that morning, had no sleep, and the 2 directors was down from Wexford, and Fiorca said to me they were down, and I was in my head, we're both having a discussion, what were they doing there? Anyways, they called me in, and I was thinking, what have I done? What's going on?
You're normally a troublemaker, was that it?
I've worked myself into situations rather than cause trouble, Brendan. But Kevin and David anyways called me in. There had been a job going for advertising manager, but I hadn't applied for it because I didn't feel personally I had the experience for it. And Kevin said to me, you have the job. And I said, but I didn't actually apply for the job, Kevin. And I was really confused with that, and he said, no, we want you to have it and we think you're able for it. And I said, I have no experience in this at all, Kevin, and you could live to regret it. And I was very, very nervous about it. But anyways, he said, we'll give you the training and all the rest of it. And that was very hard. That was the biggest adjustment for me, to be fair, because I'd worked alongside them people, and all of a sudden I was their boss. Do you know? But thankfully they were very good to me, and that worked out. And then January 2019, we were back again in a different meeting, and he said he wanted to make me general manager. And then at that point, I was like, whoa.
You definitely hadn't applied for that one, I'd say.
No, I
okay.
didn't.
You're quite happy where you were.
And like the newsroom and everybody worked, so even though we were all together, we worked separately.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So that was a bigger jump for me. But thankfully, once again, the road in behind me. And again, that was history as well. And Kevin came to me, I'd say it was the beginning of, must have been, I'd say 2.5 years ago now, and he said he wanted to sell the Weekender, and he was wondering was I interested in buying it, and I said, well, the interest is great, but even if I did, I don't have money. So thanks, Kevin, but it's not going to happen. And he came back to me various times, and then the last time he the whole way that I would be able to buy it, and I was like, actually, I'm liking this idea now.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I had said to my friend a good while before that, one day I want to own that Weekender, and she rolled her eyes and she was thinking, you do.
Yeah.
But anyways, then I went ahead and bought it. I was so nervous because I was thinking, am I doing the right thing? And the worst part for me was telling the people I worked with, because at that stage people was, I think, maybe having suspicions it was going to be sold, but nobody had ever thought, well, Dot's going to buy it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And was a complete shock to everyone when you told them, like,
Oh,
I'm not an insulting way, why were you doing, but just like would never have seen it coming.
A complete shock. It definitely was. But thankfully, again, they were so good to me. I can't even say actually how good they were to me at the time, but then COVID hit, Brendan, and they supported me unbelievably then. And at the time, even though COVID was an awful hard time in the Weekender, because the right people was there, I'll never forget their loyalty to me.
Well, I think even from listening to you, and even as I said, me dealing with you, I think you are the person that's causing all this goodness to come back on you. Because I know you've done it, I know personally, and I know loads of people with good stories. And when I heard you bought the paper, and I was going, what? And again, I was going, you just never kind of thought that way. And as I said, even your co-workers thought that way. But I can only imagine there's nothing like someone that has a real genuine interest in the business to be the one to direct it and run it. Like.
Yeah, I love the Sligo Weekend.
So, and you love owning it now? Is it as much fun?
There's probably days when it's not as much fun, but to be fair, we have a really good team there now, Brendan, and like along with me working with them, I'd also say they're my friends, and like outside work, we could go out on a Saturday night and we'd have the best time. We come in on a Monday morning, there's no word about it, so there's obviously we work together and we have our rows, but then we also have a great relationship and great friendships there.
Good. Well, that's...
Do you know?
I've always wanted to know the stories. I always say this shows me just being nosy as well. So that's fascinating to hear the way it all worked out. And we'll come back now in the second half, and I'm going to be asking you loads of things about what it's like to run a paper. And if anyone's watching, if you have any comments about what it's like to run a paper, any questions for Dorothy, no slagging now from your friends or anything like that, because we always get a few smart arses. But if you want to ask us questions, let us know. Remember, our topic of the week is where is your favourite beauty spot in Sligo? Just let us know in the comments. And now we're going to go to their news and sport.
Hi, I'm Daniel Battle. Here are some of the main stories happening this week in Sligo. The election of Councillor Paul Taylor as the new Cathaoirleach of Sligo County Council. Dave Mullen has opened his new cafe, Fish and Bean, at the Sligo Yacht Club at Ross's Point. West Sligo Ladies Football Club Owen Rua are celebrating their historic win at the LGFA Connacht Junior Championship. A proposal has been put forward to build a new footbridge over the main road in Sligo to reconnect the town. Sligo County Council discusses proposals to name a local park after the late community worker George Maguire. All this and much more in this week's Sligo Weekender.
Welcome to the weekly sports update with the Sligo Show. My name is Alana Canaan and there is plenty to catch you up on from the latest week of action across the 8th county. Sligo had a team competing in every code of the ladies' Connacht final that took place in Markievicz Park on Sunday last. Onrua triumphing against Galway's Naomh Mhuire on a scoreline of 6-13 to 3-12 for that junior title, while Nathys and Giva were somewhat outclassed by Kilclaren Clonberne and Glencar Manor Hamilton in the intermediate and senior levels. Elsewhere in football, the men's county GA team are back in action this Sunday as they open their championship crusade against the mighty Mayo on Sunday at 4:30 in Markievicz Park. That one's to be seen live on Sky Sports. Sticking with Gaelic games then, the Hurlers wrapped up their league campaign with 4 wins from 4 last Saturday to lift the Division 3A Cup against Tyrone. Having earned promotion just a week before, the men in black and white's captain Niall Finley was keen to assure onlookers that while this was their 4th cup in as many years, it wasn't to be the last they'd lift in the next while. Local rugby player Donncha Byrne earned his first under-20 international cap recently during Ireland's 38 7-point win over Scotland. While in soccer, Tubbercurry and Sligo Rovers' Kyle McDonough also secured a call-up to the under-16 Boys in Green training camp for his exceptional footballing showcases so far this year. Elsewhere, race walkers Ruth Monaghan and Eva Delahunt both picked up medals at the Junior and Under-23 Championships in Santry at the weekend. While in boxing, Dean Clancy is guaranteed at least a silver European medal at the Under-22 competition in Italy tonight. Finally, Sligo Rovers find themselves in a rough rut as they went their 3rd match in a row without a win, after they shared the points in a 1-1 draw with Derry in the Brandywell. Jordan Gibson getting the goal in that one, and the Bitter Red succumbing to the equaliser in the 85th minute to Liam Buckley's side's despair. That's it for the sports wrap-up from me, Lana Canaan. You can find more from me over on hersport.ie, The Final Whistle, and also your local media outlets.
And thanks to Daniel and Alana for the news and sport. And a little update on the sport, because it's only found out today that Dean actually won the gold medal at the European Boxing. So well done, absolutely a brilliant achievement. So we're joined again here by Dorothy Crane, and as I said to everyone, keep sending in those comments if you have any questions. Her big sister is watching in Sandra, so she's very proud of you. So she's a lot of love, whether it's family or colleagues, okay? And Michael Bree is watching as well. How are you, Michael? So, back to yourself, Dorothy. So now I want to find out more about what it's like to run a paper, okay? So what's like a normal week in the Sligo Weekender?
Well, that's the first thing, Brendan. There's no such
No
thing
such
as a
thing as a
normal
normal.
week. Definitely not. And that's what I suppose, well, I love, and I'd say everyone in the Weekender loves, and any newspaper loves. Every week is different. But our week goes from a Thursday to a Wednesday evening.
Okay.
So Thursday in advertising is you decide what features you're going to do and where the revenue is going to come from. The newsroom have planned their stories, but they might have done it beforehand as well, but sometimes that'll be the same with advertising. And then we also will cover courts on a Thursday.
Okay.
Jerry McLaughlin does the courts for us on a Thursday. Then a Friday, you just tip it away. No, not pressure. And Monday be very similar as well. Tuesday is all go.
Okay, so it's gathering everything, I presume. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
and everything is coming together. Ad copy, the people that said yes to your
Yeah.
ads, so you're getting ads. The newsroom are putting together their stories, full of pressure, and there's not too many chats on a Tuesday in the weekend.
It's not many lunch breaks either, I imagine.
No. There's a lot of lunches at desks on a Tuesday. And then Wednesday is all go. The paper's fully been put together.
Yeah.
You're waiting for your last minute ads to come in, and you're waiting for your up-to-date news stories.
Now, I never knew anyone that I did work for that when I was asking for ads that would have left them late now, would they?
No.
They wouldn't have left it till the last minute, nearly slip it in the door. Like, I'm sure you were well used to that.
If we got an ad at 5 to 3, we go to print at 3 o'clock, we'd still take it. But the later it is, the more pressure you're under.
Yeah. And I know this probably is a bit of a childish question, but like, okay, I presume the editor obviously doesn't read the whole thing. Is there, like, everyone is in charge of their own section and departments check
Yes.
it?
So Peter's our editor, and he came from Wexford, and he's amazing. He's so good, and he never shies away from work. But at the same time, there's no way that him or any other editor in the country could manage that.
Yeah. I would imagine
So he just put together the paper for us, and whoever writes the story, someone else will proof it. Someone else will proof it, but there's no actual actual sub-editing. Everyone helps in, because Sligo Weekender is a small team. There's only 11 of us, so everybody has to help.
So a whole paper is put together by 11 people?
Yeah.
Every week?
Yes, every week.
That is busy.
Yeah.
And as the owner then, like, you know, the buck stops with you, but what do you find most difficult within running a paper?
Most people might say dealing with the staff and stuff, but for me personally, is the core pages. And this is something that's natural for everyone, but I hate when people come and ask me to leave out their court story because we don't do it. So it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's my mother, my father, my sister, my brother. If you end up in court and it's covered by a Weekender journalist, it will end up in the paper. And I suppose I'm listening to them why they don't want it in, because their jobs, people just know it's embarrassing. So I feel bad saying no, but at the same time, we have to be transparent and it has to be fair across the board. You can't leave it out for someone down the road and then push it in for someone else, do you know?
I suppose you have to detach your human side to this is an entity of public media and that's what's covered and that's what's put out there.
Yeah, and when you explain it to people as well, they are fair and they do understand once you explain it to them properly.
Okay, so I suppose moving on to, you know, well, people call it modern age with papers and that. Like, do you think people that would argue, I mean, I wouldn't argue it, but do you think there's a place still for papers, or do you think it's a dying business?
I'm definitely biased on this.
Well, I would wonder why, but I'm just interested to know. Like,
absolutely, definitely. Like, I remember back in 2005, people would have said newspapers are gone. And newspapers are still here in 2021, Britain. And do I think they'll be here in 2031? I definitely do. Like, it is a traditional means, but that doesn't mean because it's traditional it's going to be cut out. Like, for us in the Weekender, our readers buy the paper because they know that information is accurate, they know it's reliable, and they know it's local, and they're not going to get it anyplace else. Like, again, Jerry McLaughlin, for a second mention, he does our local legend story. You're not going to get them stories anyplace
they're amazing.
else.
I read Eddie Henry's one today. It fascinating. Someone you half know and you go, oh, that's really interesting.
That's exactly
Tara
it.
McGowan a while back here in Queen, just to name a few, like, they're really
They're not
interesting.
acknowledged in any other way. And you're not going to get that stuff anyplace. And same with the court stories. You're not going to get them up on social media. So it is harder. There is more ways to get information and to get news, but it doesn't mean that newspapers will be gone.
Well, I mean, I think, like, even for this show, I would read the papers as well, because they're a great source, all in one thing, like, to find out all the news. And, like, I have little notes at the end I read out.
And
that is
people
gathered
trust
from,
it is reliable news.
Yeah, and like, in fairness, ye are covering events or festivals or, you know, like, you know, something a local charity is doing. So you're helping all these people to do this. So I suppose people helping the papers, whether it's yourselves or other papers or magazines or whatever, you're funding employment. You're also helping indirectly, maybe your own GA club, maybe your family member's business.
Yeah.
So I think there is a future for sure. And like, I work in marketing as well, and you know, some people say, oh, don't be advertising there. I said, well, there's always a place for advertising if you do it smart and do it right. So
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what I would see. So,
Yeah.
and I know you can get your paper now. You can download it, or you can read it on an app as well.
Yeah, on Press Reader, you can download it on that.
Yes, I know around the world you can read it there.
Exactly.
So you're moving on in that regard anyways
Yeah.
as well, so that's good. And I suppose you bought the paper in 2019.
Yeah.
And then, of course, a year later, lockdown.
Yes.
So how was lockdown for you running a paper?
For the very beginning, it was extremely stressful. March, April time for us in the Weekender was awful, but with every negative, there's a positive. So I talked to the staff in the Weekender March the 14th, 2020, and they promised and they held on to the promise they would do everything to stand by the Weekender and make sure we came out the other side. Probably going to cry. Actually, definitely going to cry. They were so good to me, and I'll never forget it. And like for March and April, for me, Brendan, myself, I remember some days I'd be talking to people, I'd get off the phone, I'd sit home and cry and think, how did I end up in this mess, and how did I think I would run this paper? But then we came out the other side of it, and like people were buying papers that never bought papers. Like people weren't going to see their parents, so then automatically they buy the paper to give them news. And thankfully our circulation held up. Advertising did fall, and it hasn't come back fully yet. But that's because businesses doesn't have the money. Do you know what I mean?
No, but they might have things to plug or advertise, I suppose. So that
Exactly.
will come back in
so
time.
it is coming back, but it's not what it was. But our circulation never went, which was a massive help to us.
And again, like we're a neutral show, and we love all the local mediums. And like, in fairness, during the lockdown, I think all the local outlets really they pivoted with some amazing news articles, and even your stories, as we talked about, that kind of stuff, or even old pictures, supplements and things like that. There's some great stuff. You go, oh well, and I'd say a lot of people maybe got back into the paper world.
Exactly, and for the sports news, like that was awful hard on Liam, because how do you come up with sports news if there's nothing going on?
Yeah,
do you know?
yeah. No, and he was writing his own blog as well.
Yeah, he was doing his
he
own
also
blog.
put a picture of me after losing the county final, so that wasn't very nice. Down on my knees, nearly crying. So thanks, Liam, for that. So the Weekender moving on, going stronger, as strong as ever. And have you any new projects coming up in the next while?
Well, we had a book out last year, volume 1 of the Sligo Weekender.
Yes.
So we're going to bring that back out again this year, and then focus on the paper, advertising, and focus on news and stuff.
Very good. Now, I personally know, and I think a lot of people know, and even your story tonight, you are a local supporter of not just everything local, but everyone you deal with.
Yeah.
But like, what do you love most about Sligo? What's your favourite thing about Sligo?
What I love most about Sligo? There's so much to do in Sligo. Like, it is a small county compared to other counties, but it doesn't matter where you are. If you want to do supping in Enniscrone, you can do supping in Enniscrone. You can go down to Grange and do horse riding. You can climb Knocknarea if you don't have any money and you just want to pass away the day. There's so much to do in it. And I don't think we fully appreciate it until you go someplace else and you come back, or it's locked down and you're looking for things to do on your doorstep.
Yeah, well, I think I said this to other guests here. Sligo is one of the best lockdown counties in
Yeah, it
Ireland.
definitely is,
'Cause no matter where you were within your 2K or your 5K, there was always some nice walk, cycle.
Yeah.
There was water to do activities on. So I think we were very lucky. Or
we
even
were
to walk
lucky.
and just look at the natural beauty.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We're very lucky at that. Now, you're not a very negative person at all, but would there be anything that would frustrate you in general that you'd see around the county?
Buildings closed down, vacant buildings. Now, not just in Sligo town, throughout Sligo town,
Yeah.
such a waste. Derelict buildings, which is probably the same thing. That building in Ballysadare, the old
Big,
apartments.
huge apartments, yeah.
And then
Sad
behind
to
it is an amazing river, and you get a glimpse. When I'm going home at the evening time, I get like a 2-second glimpse of that river. I'm like, someone knock that building so we can see it.
Or else people would be lovely to live and look out at that beautiful view as well,
Yeah,
I suppose.
exactly.
So either or, but yeah, I know it's a pity to see things like that. And then if I give you a cheque tonight now for €1 million, what would be the first thing you'd do in Sligo? You can't go, you can't leave now. Go to Bally. You can do that at the end. Ballyhonus, Ballymote.
Ballina probably, but what's the first thing I do? I think teenagers are lacking stuff to do in Sligo. Not the young teenagers and not people in their, I'll say 19-20, like the 15 to 18-year-old group. The ones that are too old for teenage discos, but they can't go into a pub yet. I think massive investment is needed for them.
Yeah, I think it's so true. And there was a couple of us talking about this recently, and there could be something starting to move in that whole world as well. But as you said, I think it's time maybe to highlight it more. And we love one of the shows this before our season ends in July, that we would bring on some teenagers and talk to them and say, tell us what you're thinking of. So we might do something with you on that when the time comes. So now to finish out our interview, we do a little quick fire round of just fun little questions, and it gives us a little picture of what Dorothy's really like, okay? So I'm going to call them out and you just answer as quick as you can. So, favourite movie?
This is very easy. Team America.
Team of it's a random one, but yeah, brilliant. Favourite band?
Favourite band, random again, Whistling Donkeys or the Wolf Toads.
Whistling Donkeys, I've heard of them. Enniscrone or Dunmore Beach? Better
In a
keep it
scroll,
local.
in a scroll.
Surfers or shams?
Probably buffs.
Buffs, fair enough. Who would you rather have lunch with, Eamon Cunningham and EJ's or Niall Delaney?
I'd have to pick him and Cunningham on that.
Eamon, I think it'd be good crack there. Now, not that Niall wouldn't be, but you know what I mean. That's it. Favourite TV show?
Favourite TV show? I don't really have one. I won't watch.
Too busy?
Yeah, I won't watch a lot of TV. I'm
So
reading
then you
papers.
won't answer my next question. So, a TV show you hate the most? Was there ever a TV show you hated?
Fair City.
Oh, fair enough, you knew that one. Pints or shots?
Shots.
Dance or chat?
A mixture.
Four lights or bistro?
Definitely four lights.
Cocktails and lilies or champagne and Ellabon?
Cocktails and lilies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hawkswell the model?
Hawkswell.
And your favourite saying?
Favourite saying? Probably go, go, go.
Well, that sums you up brilliantly.
Yeah.
Dorothy, we've known each other a good bit over the years. I never really had a proper chat like this to you. It's
Yeah.
been lovely chatting to you. You're an amazing person. You're a real asset to the
Thank you
town,
so
the
much.
county, and everything you do. And the way you obviously look after everyone in your business, it's a credit to you. And that's why where you are, because they've come back to help you because you were so good to them. Thanks very much for coming on the show.
Thanks yourself.
And we'll
Bridget.
have you again some other
Yeah.
time for sure.
Chat soon.
So that was Dorothy. Now we're going to go to our local focus. And this week it's Fergal Nealon, who has an amazing app called Story Tracks. And he's a great story about an armed robbery on a bank in Sligo from years ago. Hi, Brendan here again from the Sligo Show. And this week on our local focus, we have Fergal Nealon of Story Tracks. Hi, Fergal.
How you doing, Brendan? How's things?
Good. Nice to have you on. So tell our audience a little bit more about what is Story Tracks and what does it involve?
So at Story Tracks, we capture local stories and we bring them to life. So for us, it's like every field, every shop, door, everywhere, a football pitch, a mountainside, they all have thousands of stories. And it's just about capturing the stories, particularly, I suppose, of older generations and the rich folklore we have in this country, and bringing it to life and making it more accessible on a digital device.
So it's a free app. People can download on their phone.
Yeah.
And then from what I've seen of it before, like you take it around the town, you can have a walk around and find all these little hidden gem stories around the town. Would that be the best way I could describe it to someone that hasn't used it?
Yeah, that'd be the best way, I suppose. Like, you can walk around town. I suppose a good example now, like Sligo's blessed. We've got some fantastic storytellers. So on the app, I have the likes of John Mullany, Michael Quirk, Damien Brennan, Brian Scanlon from the Cemetery. There's fantastic storytellers. And I suppose it's about the hidden stories when you scratch beneath the surface of what's obvious and find the real stories. So, when you walk around town and you hear the stories that John Mullany can tell of the old shops that used to be there and the games they played when they were young, and it's just fantastic. It really is, sort of brings a whole new layer to the town and to the stories we all know.
Yeah, and I suppose it is very much a tourist thing, but also I think a lot of locals might find out stories from around the town that they mightn't realise.
Yeah. There's some great ones. Like there's one by the Ulster Bank actually that John Mullany told me. And if you notice the side of the Ulster Bank that looks onto the riverside, there's a middle window there, and it's like it's a different type of stone. And the way John would say it, it's like a Montgomery type stone,
Okay.
But it was from when during the Troubles that was the old manager's entrance, and it was blown up, and $7.5 grand was taken for the cause from and taken and a big getaway car and everything. So we've that story, but beside it we have Dave McGowan, funeral director, who is the story of the actual getaway car. And he discovered and restored the getaway car with his father-in-law. So, like, amazing little histories and connections there that, like, I would have walked by that Ulster Bank for 30-something years and never even noticed a different shade of stone. But this is what we're hoping to do with the...
It's an amazing app. And as you said, it just documents those stories that we might lose otherwise if we don't put them recorded somewhere. And you also have something that you specialise for kids, little fairy trails, am I right in saying?
Yeah, so this was like during lockdown, we were like scratching our heads and going, look, at families are looking to do something with their kids and everyone was stuck in. So we said, why don't we like add another layer to the story in terms of like incentivizing people to consume the content. So we thought of like treasure hunts, and we said we were actually launching during the midterm break. We were supposed to launch with White Hag Brewery, doing like a beer mystery tour type thing. And you got all these spots and you won a free pint. Then when pubs were shut, we said, look, let's do something with kids during midterm. So we got your good friend Jay. He was on last week.
Last week, that's right, Jay Ryan. Yeah.
And Jay came and did fairy stories with us in Strandhill and around town. So you can go to either location now, open the app, and for example, there's 4 stories in town, and you hit these points, and at these different points, I won't spoiler where they are. You follow the app, and then you open the treasure chest. It's Jay telling you a story. When you hit all 4 points, you win a free. The kids win a free baby chino, or the adult wins a free hot drink of their choice at WB's on Stephen Street there. And it's the same thing in Strandhill. We've a little fairy treasure hunt, and there's just 3 points in Strandhill, really easy to do. And once you complete all 3, you get a free scoop of ice cream in Mammy Johnson's. So that's the idea. Sort of incentivize people to get out and about and to listen to a few stories and have some fun.
Well, that sounds like a win-win for everyone. Free treats and a bit of exercise as well. So Fergal, where can people find the app if you let us know that?
Yeah, so it's Story Tracks. You can go to www.storytracks, all one word, TRACKS .ie is the website, or else just put in Story Tracks on the app stores and you'll find it, and it's free to use.
Great. Well, listen, lovely to chat to you. Thanks for coming in and tell us. And it really sounds like a real interesting one that people should engage in and have a walk around and get those free treats as well. I think they'll all love that.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone loves something free.
That's for sure. Well, Fergal, thanks a million for your time.
All right. Thanks a lot, Brendan.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Thanks to Fergal there at Story Tracks. Make sure you download the app. It's a brilliant thing to have for young and old or visitors coming to our county. So we're going to just go through a few of the comments. Remember, all you got to do if you're watching, just comment in on the live feed, letting us know where's your favourite beauty spot in Sligo, where's your favourite place to go visit. One person had a really good one, Gemma Lavin, was saying up on the Green Road overlooking the lake and the islands on a sunny day, and it's probably not one of the obvious ones people would think, but it's beautiful. Sandra Green Healy says a good old Enniscrone and the sun is shining, nothing like it. We've loads of love in for Dorothy there as well, so I mean, I'm not surprised. She was a wonderful guest and again a lovely person. So just remember, pop in your comments. You have a chance to win that lovely prize courtesy of Gillespie's in Tubbercurry. And now we're over to the lovely smiley Karen Gordon with your entertainment news courtesy of Sligo Hub.
Hi everyone, Karen Gordon here from Pop-Up Theatre Sligo and the Star Factory with your entertainment update. The Sligo Jazz Festival is back! This year it is running from the 20th to the 25th of July. It'll be a 6-day event with workshops, masterclasses, jam sessions and more with some of the world's finest jazz musicians. Be sure to check out sligojazz.ie for all the information. The Coleman Irish Music Festival also returns this summer, with concerts every Wednesday from the 7th to the 30th of July. Now with new lunchtime concerts, but booking is essential, so be sure to check out colemanirishmusic.com for all bookings and information. We also welcome back the Corja Arts Festival, which is running from the 3rd to the 11th of July. This unique festival draws from the inspiration involving artists and audiences. With special guests from the Blue Raincoats to circus performers, this incredible festival is fun for all the family. And for full information, you can check out corjafestival.com. And don't forget, Wild Roots is almost sold out, so if you want to grab your tickets to this summer's hottest event, be sure to check out wildroots.ie. A massive thank you to sligohub.com for today's information. Make sure you have a fantastic week, check out all the events that are happening, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Thanks to Karen, and be sure to check out her own Facebook page, Pop-Up Theatre, which will be having a lovely show next year. The Producers happening in April 2022. And she's got a great podcast as well, Musy Gals. If you love your musical world, be sure to check that out as well. So we've picked our winner here. Gemma Lavin is the winner of that lovely solar light courtesy of Gillespie's in Tubbercurry. I have a few little notes to mention here myself, as we do every week. And again, we find these in our local papers and magazines. A Conry Farmers Market is on every Saturday from 10 till 1, and it's at the Culani Mulnabrina pitch, which is on the N17 there. Tubbercurry is up for a Public Choice Award, so make sure we all get in behind them and vote. If you just Google Tubbercurry Public Choice Award, it'll bring you to the link and you'll be able to find it there. IT Sligo have some new courses available. Some of them are free if you're unemployed, for people who are looking to either upskill if you are employed, or if you're unemployed looking for work. They've got some free courses, so itsligo.ie. And Miss Sligo, Orla Quinn, is running a charity car wash this Saturday from 11 to 4 p.m. at Sligo Rugby Club, and it's in aid of Variety Ireland, which is a child mental health charity. So be sure to go out and support this Saturday, 11 a.m. to 4 at the Rugby Club. Sligo Lawn Bowls Club has an open weekend, so check out their Facebook page. It's on this weekend in Cleaver at the park there. Something for you all to try. And there's a comedy gig. I don't know who's running it. Reginald D. Hunter is coming to Anderson's in January, and you can get your tickets there on sofunnysligo.com. So before we go to our amazing musical piece, we just want to remind you all our clips go up on our Facebook page over the coming days, and we are on YouTube as well. We actually have loads of subscribers already, which is great. So all the interviews go up on their own and all the different clips. So if you want to tune in there, or if you have someone who's not on social media like Facebook and that, you can watch all the stuff on our YouTube as well over the coming days. Big thanks to Dorothy, our special guest, Fergal on the local business slot, Alana on sport, Karen on entertainment, Daniel on the news, Gillespie's in Tubbercurry who gave us the prize, Connie and Mark here as always at the Riverside and Ripples Cafe, and of course the man behind the camera there, Brian McDermott of Pixel Productions. And now our last piece, and I watched this last night and I was, honest to God, I was really blown away. This is a beautiful piece of music by local band Staring Down Comets. God, I always get them wrong. I always say Staring at Comets. So Staring Down Comets, if you're looking for them on Facebook. Hanging On by a Thread is the song. We filmed this during the week thanks to the guys in Lily's who let us have their space. We were looking for space to do it and they let us in there, and it looks lovely. It sounds lovely. And Lily's have reminded me to tell you that they're back on July the 5th serving all your favourite drinks, and they even have a food menu. So if you go to Lily's Cocktail Bar Sligo, you'll be able to get all the menus there and that. So now, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, I should say. We're back again next Thursday, as we are every Thursday, with John Calleary, one of the funniest men we've ever met. And we'll see you then. Enjoy this piece of music from Staring Down Comets.
1, 2, 3, 4. Dancing in the kitchen to your favorite song. Got your best dress on. Has it been so long? Couldn't believe you said you'd dance all those years ago. Who could have known we'd still be dancing? Oh, here we are at the end. All good things they must spend. Good times well spent. Love got us to the end, to the end, to the end. Hanging on by a thread to the times we thought we'd never lose. And I'm holding you now, and you're 17. All of my life, you're all I've lived for. And I'd only want to live just to love you more. So scared of settling down. We had met so young, would have finished some. Remember how long it took to tell your mom. Some moments feel so long, but she knew all along. Here we are at the end. All good things they must spend. Good times well spent. Love got us to the end, to the end, to the end. Hanging on by a thread to the times we thought we'd never lose. And I'm holding you now, and you're 17. All of my life, you're all I've lived for. want to live just to love you more. Hey! And I'd only want to live just to love you more. Till the end, till the end, till the end. Up the boys.